Now we're looking at something truly specialized: the manufacturing of containers designed to safely store radioactive waste for decades, maybe centuries. The stakes here couldn't be higher, and the processes you're seeing combine ancient forging techniques with cutting-edge welding technology. Instead of closed dies that form a specific shape, free forging uses flat or simple curved dies to manipulate large pieces of steel through multiple heating and forging cycles. That massive ingot you're seeing weighs several tons and has been heated to forging temperature in a specialized furnace that ensures even heat distribution throughout the entire mass. The forging press applies hundreds of tons of pressure, but watch how carefully the operators work the piece. They're not trying to form it in one hit. Instead, they're gradually working the steel, moving it incrementally, building up the walls of what will become the container body. This process does something remarkable to the steel's internal structure. It eliminates voids, refines the grain structure, and creates a material that's stronger and more reliable than cast or welded-only construction. Carbon steel alone isn't quite enough for radioactive waste containment. It needs a corrosion-resistant layer. That's where overlay welding comes in. You're watching an automated welding system depositing layer after layer of corrosion-resistant alloy onto the carbon steel substrate. This isn't just a coating, it's a metallurgically bonded layer that becomes part of the container itself. The welding process uses what's called submerged arc welding, where the arc burns beneath a blanket of granular flux. This protects the weld from atmospheric contamination and allows for very high deposition rates. Each pass overlaps the previous one by about 30%, ensuring complete coverage with no weak spots. The process is monitored constantly. Temperature, travel speed, wire feed rate, everything is controlled to ensure consistent, defect-free welds. Between welding passes, you'll notice they're letting the piece cool in a controlled manner. This prevents thermal stress and ensures the bond between the carbon steel and the overlay remains sound. The finished container will undergo rigorous testing, ultrasonic inspection, radiography, pressure testing, to verify it meets the exacting standards required for nuclear waste storage. Today, we're looking at something that would have made old-school machinists rub their eyes in disbelief: the Walter Tools WFL Mill Turn 2.0. A machine that handles the entire machining process on a single setup. One machine, one clamping, complete part. Now, what makes this thing so special? It starts with Walter's optimized cutting tool strategy. Walter Tools, a German precision tooling company with over a century of expertise, designs their cutting tools specifically to work in harmony with this machine. That means every drill, mill, and turning insert is engineered to cut faster, last longer, and produce tighter tolerances than conventional tooling. Less chatter, less heat, less rework. In the machining world, that translates directly to money saved and quality gained. But here's where it gets really impressive: structured simultaneous dual-channel programming. Think of it like playing two instruments at once, perfectly in sync. The WFL mill turn runs two machining channels simultaneously, meaning while one spindle is turning the outer diameter of a shaft, the other is drilling or milling a completely different feature on the same part at the same time. Productivity doesn't just improve, it multiplies. Then comes deep hole drilling, one of the most demanding operations in metalworking. We're talking about holes that can be 10, 20, even 30 times deeper than their diameter. Getting coolant in, chips out, and maintaining straightness over that depth requires real engineering. The WFL handles this with precision coolant through tooling and adaptive feed control, keeping everything on track deep inside the workpiece. Eccentric machining takes things a step further. Some shaft features, like off-center bores or asymmetric journals, aren't aligned with the main rotational axis. Traditionally, you'd need a specialized fixture or a second setup. Here, the machine's live tooling and multi-axis control handle it seamlessly, repositioning and cutting those eccentric features without ever unclamping the part. And tying it all together, simultaneous machining, multiple tools cutting at the same time, multiple operations overlapping. It's like an orchestra, where every instrument plays its part precisely on cue, and the result is a finished component, complex, precise, and ready, produced in a fraction of the time it once took. This is Friuli SRL, an Italian forging powerhouse located in the Friuli region of northeastern Italy, a place with deep industrial roots. And the star of the show? A 500-ton hydraulic forging press. That's 5 million pounds of force, focused into a controlled, repeatable stroke that shapes red-hot billets of steel into precision near-net-shaped components. The process begins with raw steel stock, heated in a gas furnace to temperatures between 100 and 250 degrees Celsius, glowing orange, almost alive. The billet is placed into a precisely machined die set, and with one controlled press stroke, the metal flows into the die cavity, filling every contour. Flash, the excess material squeezed out at the parting line, is later trimmed away. What makes forged parts special isn't just their shape, it's their internal grain structure. The forging process aligns the steel's crystalline grain flow with the part's geometry, resulting in components that are dramatically stronger, tougher, and more fatigue-resistant than anything machined from solid bar stock. The UBF 112N is a specialized CNC underfloor wheel lathe, a two-spindle machine designed specifically for turning and profiling railroad wheels, both on complete wheel sets and on wheels fitted with new tires. What makes it remarkable is that the wheels don't have to be removed from the axle. The wheel set rolls directly onto the machine on its own rails, and the lathe gets to work. The machine's two cutting turrets approach from either side simultaneously, each carrying precision carbide inserts. Using pre-programmed CNC profiles, the tools trace the exact contour required by railway standards: the tread profile, the flange height, the flange width, the back-to-back distance. The cutting parameters are carefully controlled to achieve the right surface finish, because a wheel that's too rough will wear track faster, and one with incorrect geometry can compromise handling at speed. What sets the UBF 112N apart is its ability to handle both reprofiling of worn wheels and the finishing of brand new wheels or wheels fitted with new steel tires, all on the same machine, with quick changeover between programs. In a busy rail maintenance depot, that flexibility means more wheel sets turned per shift, less downtime, and trains back in service faster. Precision engineering in service of keeping the world moving. Today, we're watching the complete production of a bevel gear vertical shaft, a component found at the heart of differentials, industrial gearboxes, and heavy machinery drives worldwide. The journey starts with material selection and blanking. High alloy steel, often a nickel-chromium molybdenum grade, is cut to rough length on a cold saw or bandsaw. This billet has to carry enormous torque loads in service, so material quality is non-negotiable from day one. Next comes rough turning. The blank is chucked in a CNC lathe, and material is removed aggressively to bring the shaft close to its final outside diameter. Rough turning isn't about precision yet, it's about removing mass efficiently, leaving just enough stock for the finishing passes. Then, gear hobbing or bevel cutting. This is where the teeth are generated. For bevel gears, a specialized machine, most often a Gleason or Klingelberg spiral bevel gear cutter, uses a rotating face cutter to generate the curved, tapered tooth profile that gives bevel gears their characteristic shape. The tooth geometry is calculated to ensure smooth, quiet meshing under load, with conjugate action across the full tooth face. After cutting, the gear goes to heat treatment, typically case carburizing followed by quenching and tempering. This process drives carbon into the tooth surface, creating a hard, wear-resistant case while keeping the core tough and ductile. Surface hardness commonly reaches 58 to 62 on the Rockwell C scale. Grinding follows heat treatment. Because hardening inevitably causes slight distortion, the gear teeth and shaft journals are precision ground back to specification. Gear grinding, using CBN or aluminum oxide wheels, can hold tolerances in the single-digit micron range, ensuring smooth, efficient power transmission. Finally, inspection and quality control. Every gear is checked on a CMM, coordinate measuring machine, and a dedicated gear analysis machine that measures tooth profile, lead, pitch, and runout against the engineering drawing. Only parts that pass every check leave the facility. Oh, there's something almost hypnotic about watching a chain come to life, link by link, one precise step at a time. Welcome to Monal Chains, a manufacturer that's been quietly mastering the art of industrial chain production. Every single chain you see here starts as raw steel wire, cold drawn, measured to the millimeter, and fed into high-speed coiling and cutting machines that shape each individual link with remarkable accuracy. From there, those links go through a bending and assembly press, where they're mechanically interlocked under serious tonnage. No glue, no shortcuts. Just pure mechanical engineering the way it was meant to be done. Then comes the heat treatment furnace, where chains are hardened and tempered to handle brutal real-world loads. Finally, every finished chain runs through tensile and fatigue testing machines before it ever leaves the floor. Old-school craftsmanship, powered by modern precision.